We're here at Flag Field in Holliston, where most of the Little League action happens here in town. And we're here with the Holliston Panthers 2023 Cooperstown team that made the journey to Cooperstown to play in a very intense tournament and a lot of fun. And that's what we're here to speak with these guys about. I'm going to start with Coach Steve Rebello, who's here to talk about a little bit about how the team was formed. Why don't we start with that? Because we know, as we were just saying, this is a long process that starts early.
Yep, sure. Thank you. It's definitely fun week. I'm glad we put it together. It all started, Finn played for Sherborne, I think, last year, and had a great experience. And his mom, he had another year eligibility and some players in town that he didn't have a chance to play with. Just because the way Tondorf works, that we had some sixth graders that never got to play with each other, so we thought, why not pull them together on a team, go to Cooperstown, so the boys get a chance to play together. So she got the ball rolling, Tasha, and from there we kind of targeted the Tondorf teams and opened it up who's interested in going to Cooperstown. We mostly filled out the team that way, but then still needed a few extra players. A lot of these guys do Longhorns in town, and so we started recruiting within Longhorns. We ended up with a couple of boys from one from Hopkins, one from Medway. So it was mostly Holliston boys, but then pulled in a couple extra to fill out the team.
Excellent. And you were just mentioning to me, this is the first Holliston team to come back to Cooperstown since 2017, which is when my son last played, which is why I broke out my shirt from then, because I have such wonderful memories. And thank you guys for doing this, because it gives me a chance to go through all those. How about a little bit, there's a lot of fundraising that goes on with this trip. This is not a cheap trip. And so I know you guys, coaching staff, parents, the players, did a lot of hard work behind the scenes. What were some of the things and activities that you did to raise some money?
Yeah, definitely. The parents were great in that. They kind of pulled together, organized, and did some fundraising. One of our big ones was the calendar. So we put together a calendar and got donations from businesses in town or some bigger places where, every day we did a raffle. And if you had bought a calendar and your name came up that day, you got the gift card. So I think that was the biggest draw we had was the calendars. But we also did some, sitting outside of Fisk's with the table and bake sales and that kind of stuff. It definitely helped. So thank you to everybody who contributed, because it definitely helped us.
Which of you players makes the best cookies? Were you doing the baking? They left the baking to the parents. Okay. I know this is because, again, like you said, you got a couple kids from other towns. You've got players of different ages. Did you have practice time? Were you able to pull together any preparation on the field?
Yeah, we tried. It was hard because in the summer, most of these guys were doing Tondorf, so we didn't want to pull away from those teams to do practices. So once the Tondorf tournament ended, and then we had about 6 weeks before, 4 to 6 weeks or so before we were going to leave for Cooperstown. So we tried to do 2 a week, but as you know, summer vacations and things happening. So I don't think we pulled the whole team together too many times. But every practice we had at least 5-6 boys here, so they started to get together, know each other as a team, and and learn. And we also did a couple of activities outside. We went and saw the Mudville baseball team from in town. We did a team outing there, did a couple of cookouts at our houses and stuff, just so the boys could get together and know each other.
That Mudville team's great. I'm sure HCAT's done a piece on them in the past. A lot of those guys are my friends. I play softball with them. So, boys, what about you from the fundraising? Let's talk to some of the players for a bit. I know it's hard work to do the fundraising. It's not always easy. And any memories or things maybe that you learned from doing fundraising activities? Any player want to talk about that? And then when you do start talking, how about you tell us your name? That'd be great. Anybody want to comment on fundraising?
So I'm Charlie Roths. One thing we did for fundraising was me and Finn, we went into different stores around Holliston and asked for donations, like gift cards that could help towards going to Cooperstown.
And I heard from Coach Steve that the town supported you guys, and you sold a few of those calendars and other things.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anybody want to talk about maybe some things that you just learned about being part of a team, an organization, by having to do fundraising for this? I know usually the sports, the parents will just pay and you guys show up and play and it's fun. But here you had to do a little bit of work. Is there anything that maybe you learned just about organization and preparation or for an event like this?
I'm Tristan, and I learned that there's a lot of different people and communities and places that really helped us, and lots of individual help, not just one big sponsor. And just without missing any of those places or shops, we would probably not have been where we are. and there was a lot of help having just a little bit from each place and person that gave their time to us.
That's great. That's great that you're able to pick up on that. So let's talk a little bit. We got how the team was formed. We've got the practice time. Now, speaking of practice time, I'd love to hear from one of the players about it's a bigger diamond than some of you maybe are used to playing. I know some of you might do AAU and you play in that intermediate diamond, but maybe someone who hasn't, I don't know if there's anyone here who hasn't had a chance until you went to Cooperstown to play on that bigger diamond. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that adjustment?
I haven't played on the bigger field, and then like the base running's different because you can take a lead before the pitcher pitches it, and then you can steal before the ball he releases it, and it's just different for base running because it's like you're gonna get out more than you do on the little diamond, and it's harder to outrun throws to first or second or wherever you're running to.
And what was your name again?
I'm Ben Fury.
Ben. All right. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, and I would assume on the other side of that too, the defensive players, those especially at short and third, maybe had to make a little adjustment. But again, I know some of you guys do AAU ball, and you're used to some of that. Another thing that I was thinking back on when I had the opportunity to talk with you guys was the skills competition. Do they still do that? Yeah. So anybody want to talk about any of that? Excellent. And your name?
Austin McGuire. I was in the Around the Horn challenge, and the team that won it was insanely fast, and we had to play that team later in the division or bracket, and it was really challenging because they didn't make any errors in that game. We finished in like 34 or something, which was pretty bad.
But you had fun doing it, right? And I know, from what I remember, the whole crowd is watching, all these things happen. Maybe one of the players want to talk about, for the folks at home who don't know what we're talking about, this Around the Horn competition. Someone want to talk about that?
So I'm Nicholas Gorham, and basically there's players, and you guys just throw it around the field, and like if the ball gets by you, it adds like 5 seconds.
So yeah.
And the goal being to, go ahead.
It consists of 4 different types of things. So one is running around the bases. Obviously around the horn, you have the accuracy and the home run derby.
Right. So the skills competition being a series of these 4 different contests that aren't just games.
And in the Around the Horn, you have to throw. The pitcher has to throw it to the catcher. The catcher has to throw it to third. Third has to throw it to second baseman. The second baseman has to throw it to first. First baseman has to throw it home. The catcher has to throw it to shortstop. Shortstop throws it to right field. Right field throws it to second. Second throws it to center. Center throws it to third. Third throws it to left field. Left field throws it home.
All the way home, yeah. And that's a lot going on there. Yep. Coach, any comments on the Around the Horn? I see you laughing.
Yeah, because they remembered the sequence. They'll probably never forget that for the rest of their lives. We practiced it enough that they kind of all knew. And they actually did really good. It was some teams really struggle with it, throwing the ball around, and these guys, they hung in there and did pretty good. So
not easy too, and I know you're used to competing in front of your friends and family here, but it's a little different when you're out there too. What about the home run derby? Who got you? Go ahead, talk about that.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about how you did or what your experience was. I'm sure it was fun either way.
So we, in the home run derby, each got 5 swings. You could take as many pitches as you'd like, but you got 5 swings, and basically anything that's not a home run would count as an out, or like a swing. And basically the winners of the 5-pitch qualification derby, because you needed 2 to advance to the next round, the winners got around 3-4 out of the 5 swings they got. There were some really big kids and from different states, especially like Illinois and Georgia and Alabama. There was a few kids I talked to there. And then after you advanced, after hitting 2 home runs in the first derby, you went to the Little Majors Stadium, which is where all the finals were done. And a kid on a Massachusetts team won and hit some balls really far, like I would say 270 feet and on, for his home runs. And I mean, he was just a great ball player, and that's why he won it.
Excellent. Sounds like you had a great experience. Coach, how did we figure out that Tristan got to be a part of that? Was there a little contest here at a practice or something?
Yeah, well, we did a contest for all of the drills, actually, except for the home run derby. He was kind of nominated by the team because he wasn't at that practice. But for the other drills, for the run around the bases, we had a team competition and timed it. For the actually throw from center field, same thing. We brought a net, and the boys had to try to get 5 throws and throw it through the net. And Tier won that practice, so we got to do it at the tournament.
And how did that go?
It went pretty well. Like the winners who moved on from the first round, they only got like 2 or 3 points on 3 throws. So how it works is there's like a big like cornhole board essentially, but the hole's like in the middle. If you get it in the hole, it's 5 points. Around the hole, it's 3 points, and on the edges or on a bounce, it's worth 1 point. And you have to throw it from center field, and it was similar to the home run derby in that way, where the winners like then competed at like the stadium, and yeah.
The winner got one through the middle of the
Yeah, he
corn.
did.
And the winner nailed it, huh? Got a bullseye. Excellent. So let's move on from that, because I think I remember that was usually like the first day that you were there, and then you start to get into your games, the 6 games that you have against some of the other players. So let's talk about let's talk a little bit about on the field and some experiences playing these other kids from other towns, other states, not so much other towns, other states, from across the country. Anyone want to comment on the kind of the competition and the quality of play that was there?
In our first game, we had to face a team named BPA or something along that line. Yeah. And they were from California, and they ended up being the 7th seed or something in the top 10. And we put up a pretty good fight against them, but we still lost. But it was more difficult. Like, I came in there thinking that it was going to be like medium. It was really hard. The pitchers on BPA were throwing like 70, and that's too fast.
And they were also not throwing their best pitchers at us to start the tournament. So we were definitely shocked to see how good the competition could be.
Yeah, and competition was way more fast-paced than what you would see normally in Tondorf or back here in Holliston. That was definitely a challenge towards us.
That's a good point about the pace. I agree, especially someone had mentioned earlier the stealing and the leading, which isn't part of your everyday little league here. And then the pace of play things do speed up when you get to that level of competition. How about some of the other games? You talked about the first one. Anyone have any memories or thoughts on some of the other games?
Every single game we played, the competition was obviously way better, so it was hard to like adapt to those. I remember on the last game we played a really good team named Rockland Elite, and they were really good.
I want to hear a couple of the on-field highlights. We're going to get to the off-the-field stuff and the fun you had in the barracks and getting to meet the other kids. But what were some of the baseball highlights that come to mind? Anybody want to comment on that?
Back-to-back home runs by Ben and Tristan in like before the last game or a playoff game. Yeah, playoff game.
And it was Ben's first home run as well.
Ben's first
home run ever.
Then Tristan hit it like second pitch when he was up. It was pretty good.
See, memories you'll all remember, not just the boys and the families that hit them. All right, so we got some back-to-back home runs. That's awesome. What are some other?
Another thing that I remember is Finn, during one of our games, made a diving play at shortstop and then doubled the guy up at second for a double play.
Nice.
And it was great. And he made a lot of defensive plays along the tournament as well, but that was one of his best ones, I would say.
There you go, Finn. That must have made you feel pretty good and contributing, because outs are hard to get against some of those teams. How about one last on the field memory from somebody?
There was in our second to last like normal game, not playoffs. Charlie hit a 3-run home, or I think it was 3-run home run to tie it. We were down 3-6, and then Charlie tied it. And then I don't remember what inning we were going into. Then they hit a grand slam and then another home run. And then that just felt like it was way bigger, like way more of a difference. But like we made the plays in the field. And also we made some double plays the whole time. Like Tristan had one where he caught it at short and then threw it to Tier at third to get out of bases loaded. and then of course Finn's.
Yeah.
Then we had some second to first.
Great. So it sounds like you guys were throwing the gloves around a little bit and making some plays. And we know those teams can hit too, so the ball's going to be in play quite a bit too. Any comments from the coach in terms of competition there, and maybe some things you learned? Maybe go back next year. You're not sure yet. How about that?
Definitely. It's funny, these guys talking about a lot of the defensive highlights. And that was one of the things I was most impressed with was our defensive fielding. We made a lot of great plays, and it really kept us in the games. In this tournament, you see some really lopsided scores, 30-1, 30-2 type scores, and we didn't have any of those types of games. Like we were in almost every game we played because of the great defense. Charlie played a great center field. Nick came in, played some great second base. Ben with his catching. Tier was all over the diamond. Obviously, Ben at third base made some nice plays. Finn played great shortstop, second base. Austin, again, all over the place, playing everywhere. So the fact that they're moving around the diamond, playing a lot of different positions, and still making the plays when the ball was hit to them, it was really fun to watch.
And I'm guessing you had to call in a lot of arms to pitch too throughout the week. Maybe some kids who don't always pitch, or some new experiences on the pitching. And the distance too is different.
Right. Yeah, the pitching's difficult. You have 2 games a day all week. All right, so you're really asking for a lot of pitches that they normally don't. We try to keep them under a certain pitch count and stuff. But this week that kind of went out the window a little bit. Ben Rebello threw quite a number of pitches. Yeah, but almost everyone on the team did pitch at least one inning, right? So everyone had to contribute to the pitching, and we did pretty good considering as these guys are talking about, the types of teams we were facing, and we held them. We didn't really have many big innings against us. So between the defense and throwing strikes, we did pretty good and hung in there.
Excellent way to represent Holliston, guys. Staying in those games, that's not easy there. How about the weather? Did that have an impact? Was it just pretty nice? You don't have to deal with rain or anything?
We didn't get any bad days. We got one rainy day, but it was before the second game of the day, and it stopped before our game started. So there were no rain delays, barely any times when the weather wasn't pleasant. So we got a great week to go.
Sounds like it.
There was one day where it got moved. One of the games got moved forward because of rain in the morning. So that was like our first game. At like 9:30, got pushed to 10 maybe.
All right, let's talk about some off the field stuff. I guess we transitioned there with the weather. I want to hear about there's a gazillion kids there, 104 teams. Multiply that by 10 or 14 times a team. You got so many new people and faces to meet there. Was there a team or a town, a state that you guys feel like you bonded with, or any comments on some of the friends you made while at Cooperstown Dreams Park?
Well, I don't know about the rest of the team, but I go to Needham for school, and the Needham Rockets went to Cooperstown in the same week that we went. So on the first day, I found my friend from Needham, CJ, and I was able to talk to him for a while, and I feel like our bond got stronger because we were talking about baseball. Not just anything in general, just baseball.
What a beautiful conversation. I mean, what else do you want to talk about besides baseball? Right? Nothing. And that's my hometown, Needham. I'm glad to hear the Needham Rockets did well, and that's great they got to connect with some of those guys. And I know some of you play AAU ball, where there's some kids from other towns maybe that were there that week, maybe, or other states or teams that you made friends with. I'd like to hear about some of the other people you met from the other places across the country.
I'm from Hopkinton, so I only know a couple people on the team from like club. So I was able to meet a lot of new people who I normally wouldn't meet on this team, and so that was really nice.
And let's talk about the pins, because we know that's a great way to meet the other kids. Tell me about the pins and the trading, and was it fun? I know there's some more pins that are more rare than others. For those of you that don't know at home, this is a big part of a lot of tournaments, sports tournaments, especially baseball tournaments, where the kids, each team will have their own specific pin, and they will trade them with kids from other towns, and they collect them on a towel. They still do the towels? Yeah. They still do the towels on a towel or whatever. So let me hear a little bit about the pin trading, because from what I remember, that was a big part of it.
On the first day, I was able to get Commander Pete, the rarest pin they have there, and it's going for $200 right now.
But you'd put that money towards next year's team, right? You would donate all that money if you were to sell it. Yeah, there you go. That's what I want to hear. Tell me about some more.
It was just being able to, like, lots of kids wanted to, like, just get these 1 pins and they were focused on that. But I kept meeting the people that just wanted to trade team pins, which was, like, great because I didn't want any of the special pins. I just kind of got Commander Pete. I just walked by a golf cart lady or whatever you want to call it, and they just give you, and the giveaways were fun, but they always ran out of pins too quickly because the line was maybe from where I'm standing to like the second base maybe, and it, like, even if you got in the front of the line, there was very rarely chance that you would actually get one because either it would be lights out or something would happen, like they'd run out or random stuff.
So the pins were relatively fun. Talk about some of the other things. What else did you do during your downtime? I know sometimes the games, there's one in the morning, one at night. You got a lot of space in between. You're not just going to eat the whole time. I know. What did you do in between? I know there's maybe some practices thrown in there. Yeah.
Dancing.
Right in front of our bunk, there was this huge field where we would go out and play wiffle ball on. We did that at night as well, where, like, the whole team, we'd just go play wiffle ball. Yeah. And mostly pin trading, but...
I would typically opt for more batting practice, and a few of the teammates joined me on that instead of going to do the pin trading. But I think it was really nice because there was like 20 batting cages at your disposal and a huge field for anything else you wanted to do, plus a bunch of baseball fields to watch other teams play. So I liked just getting more practice.
Excellent. And any comments on the trip into Cooperstown to the Hall of Fame, downtown, Doubleday Field you got to go see? Anybody want to talk about that experience?
So when we went into the Hall of Fame, we had this guy named Chuck who told us all about that you're going to see in the Hall of Fame and the different artifacts, like world-class pitcher Shohei Ohtani's his hat from the World Baseball Classic, which is like the World Cup of Baseball, and a few other cool artifacts. And after hearing his speech, because we weren't doing so well up to that point, after hearing his speech, we dedicated a game to him. It said, "For Chuck."
That's great. I love it. That's the spirit of baseball. That's beautiful. What about, there's got to be some funny stories that happen with you guys. So, we got to make sure this is a family show here, so we have to make sure, the story is safe for everybody. But let's hear. You all seem to be thinking about the same story, so I got to hear this.
So, one of the last nights that we were here, one of our other teammates, Leo, he brought a speaker, and like 11:30 midnight, we were putting music on. Some people, like Ben, was trying to sleep, and we were just all like yelling and listening to music late at night. Yeah, it was really fun. We have videos of like us screaming. It was really fun.
And let's hear the coach's side of this one. Were your shades on? Were you dancing, or were you yelling at kids to go to sleep?
I was a spectator on that one. There wasn't much sleeping going on at the bunk a couple of the nights, and that was actually a really fun night. It was fun to see the boys up, and like we said, we didn't get too many wins there, but they were still hanging out, having fun at night. And when the lights went off, they'd pull out the phone lights, and it was like a nightclub all of a sudden in the Holliston Panther bunk. So it was fun to watch.
That's what it's all about. You kids having fun on that trip. Those are the things you're gonna remember. You want to say something? You got something?
On the first night, I think, there's at 10 o'clock it's lights out. No, quiet time, and then at 10:30 it's lights out. Yeah, and during that time you could read or go to sleep or just get ready for bed, but yeah, we didn't really choose to do that. We chose to play games like Mafia and other games.
And I'm assuming the technology was put away for at least for some moments on the trip.
We tried to, no phones after the lights out, but
The nature of the beast these days, right? How about the food at the park, kids? All right.
It was.
Anything that.
wasn't
Anything that was you got fond memories of the food. There's got to be something.
Cereal was
All right,
good.
well, let's hear from.
It wasn't very good. It was okay. Like, the breakfast was probably my least favorite meal on some of the days, just because, like, I think it like switched between French toast and bacon, and pancakes and sausage and like eggs that looks like that were not very good. And
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of times from books and just stories about mystery meat at camps and schools. I never experienced that type of like food or looks to food until I went to Cooperstown. Mystery meat and everything else.
Could compare it to what you find at school.
But I know there's a lot of snack shacks around there, so I'm guessing the parents came to the rescue on that one. Yeah. All right, kids. In closing here, is there any other, as we were talking today, is there anything else that came to mind here? Maybe something I didn't ask you. A story, again, something funny, something maybe that future Holliston players who might participate in this tournament can look forward to. Any words of wisdom for your peers and fellow baseball players of Holliston who might get a chance to do this someday?
I think that it was really important for me to practice my mental game, which is really something that baseball helps with in life, keeping patient and like staying calm. And I think as a team, whenever we weren't frustrated with ourselves, we performed a whole lot better. And I think, well, my dad and I, Coach Parker, we went the week before to watch the championship game, and there were some really good ball players out there, but most importantly, they wouldn't get mad if they gave up any hits or made a bad play. So I really tried to take that into the tournament. I think anybody going to Cooperstown in coming years should also try to practice not getting mad at all or frustrated, because these are elite teams and it's just elite competition, so you got to stay within yourself on that.
Wise words, and I know sportsmanship is a big theme throughout the week there in Cooperstown, and whether you're winning or not winning, it's not always easy to show the right sportsmanship. So it sounds like you got a lot out of that. And baseball's a game of failure, as we all know as baseball players, right? Where you get out most of the time. You have something else, another memory, or some words of wisdom? Go ahead.
So I wish our other teammate Robert was here, because he has the signatures on the back of his phone. But there was a team there called Eastern Mass. They were destroying everyone. Usually, the other team usually had 0, and it was 30 or 29, and it was a lot of home runs. We went there, but it didn't really seem fun for either team because they were hitting so many. I think we went there and they hit 8 or 10 home runs in an inning, and in the final game, they finally did find an opponent that was actually good for them. They only won by 1 run, which was still a home run, but it was the championship game, and they ended up winning the whole thing.
Wow. So it sounds like some of you guys did stick around for the fireworks there in the championship game at the end. Coach, as we wrap things up here, any final thoughts from you on the week? What the performance of these boys on and off the field? Something for the future Holliston teams. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I think, as you can tell, it's just a great experience for all the boys and the coaches. It was something that neither the players or the coaches will ever forget. Right? It was a lot of great time, whether it's on the field or the off time, playing wiffle ball or hanging out in the bunk. Just a lot of great memories that we'll remember forever.
That's the most important thing. And as we wrap up here at Flag Field, I don't think I had the opportunity or I didn't think to introduce all of the players. Shame on me. So what I'm going to do is pass the mic down and have the players tell you who they are as they represented our great town of Holliston in Cooperstown.
My name is Charlie Rotz.
My name is Tristan Snyder, going to 7th grade.
My name is Ben Fury.
My name is Nicholas Gorham.
My name is Tier Benning.
My name is Ben Ribello.
My name's Austin McGuire.
And my name is Finn Bellison.
Well, congratulations, fellas. It sounds like it was an awesome week. Coach, congratulations to you. I know it's a lot of work and a lot of fun, and I know the reward is never ending because you'll always remember this. Thanks, guys. Thanks for today. This was fun.